Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Beer and Video Games Variety Show.
Long time no see.
A whole week.
A whole week.
How did we fill it?
With beer, I think, actually.
With beer and video games, no less.
And let's see, so Guido's here already. Hey Guido, and then let's see, Matt's here and Haas is here. How's it going, guys?
Matt and Haas.
Matt and Haas.
Awesome. Well, keep the chat going. Send us questions. We will try just our very hardest to answer those kinds of things.
Yeah. So, today we are going to be talking about North Coast Brewing Company's barrel-aged Old Rasputin. It is admittedly a beer we have not tried, so we're already breaking the format. As you guys know, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy Tactics tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I think that out of all the Final Fantasy games, in, well, canon and non-canon, Tactics is probably my second favorite. What about you?
It has to be in the top 2, right? With 9 and Tactics. What we can say about Tactics is that it is such an outlier in the series.
Yeah.
Like, not only with the combat system, but with the style of the story, the way the characters are fleshed out. They're not nearly as cliche. They don't have many of the archetypes that we see in all the Final Fantasies. Whereas Final Fantasy IX was like a complete refinement of everything they did in Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy Tactics is really a hard left turn from everything that they've done.
And I think when you ask somebody what their favorite Final Fantasy game is, Tactics, I think much more so with the really, really diehard fans of the series will go to Tactics, at least in their top 3. But in terms of mainstream reception of this game, I think it's underappreciated.
Yeah.
And I always get shit when people say, "What's your favorite canon game?" I mean, I seriously consider this game to be canon in a cursory way.
I mean, if it's set in Ivalice,
right,
then it has to be canon. That's a world that's returned to a lot. I mean.
Not true, Haas. 6 is not the best. It is objectively not the best. And I know that I'm gonna get crucified for that.
Oh yeah.
You're non-committal.
Well, I think we could say it's not the best. It's not like we're saying it's a crap game, because it's actually really goddamn good.
Yeah.
But best is a superlative, and there can only be one.
There can only be one.
Yeah.
It's like Highlander, bro. All right, so we're gonna.
Oh,
oof! That was nice. Did that pop come across in the?
You gonna pop?
Well, I popped. I hope that was that made for a good sound bite. Already I'm getting chastised for using objectively.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't use language like that. You know better.
Yeah, I know, but what can I say? I am who I am. And I like to say shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
real happy that we get to review a stout today.
Me too.
I love me a stout. And I love me some old Rasputin.
Oh, shit.
That's
heady. I poured it pretty gingerly, too.
Okay, so before we talk about anything, let's talk about the nose on this. Because I can smell the bourbon from here.
Can you? I don't know. I can't smell it from here.
You gotta get on the level with this baby.
God, and thanks for the feedback on the sound, Guido. Let's see. So I'm gonna give it a nice swirl.
That is so goddamn nice.
Ooh, yeah. That's got like a. Oddly enough, it kind of has like the nose of Parabola.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they're 2 different barrels. But I'm getting a lot of caramel, bourbon, obviously.
Licorice.
Vanilla.
There's some licorice in there.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of anise.
For such a tough beer, being a Russian Imperial Stout called Old Rasputin, it is surprisingly sweet.
Yeah, very.
As far as the nose is concerned.
That's nice. Ooh.
So just,
I actually didn't think that this was how it was going to smell.
So stick around for us smelling things and going ooh for 3 hours on stream.
Oh, this one's for Haas right here. There we go.
Ooh.
Pinky up. Fuck. That's real nice.
Yeah.
Do you just take a sip of it right now?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to.
All right. So, everybody, I hope that you have something. Matt, you're probably not drinking beer. You're probably drinking rum. Or Malbec.
Not a problem.
Not a problem, I guess, but this is beer. Anyways, cheers. Cheers to you guys.
Oh, wow. That's smooth.
That is.
That is incredibly smooth.
This is in a... Wow. Like,
holy
I'm really
shit.
fucking confused right now. Because Old Rasputin...
It's not that smooth.
No. That's like the point of Old Rasputin. It's supposed to kick you on your ass. What?
Shit, man.
Guido's got rum, and Matt's got rum. Yep.
That's fine.
Wow. This actually... It's funny that you're drinking out of a brewery tulip, because this tastes like a brewery beer. Damn barrels. Whew. Mm.
That is fantastic. So before we get into rating this beer, why don't we talk about why we picked it?
Okay. Why did we pick it?
Well, leading into our discussion that we're going to talk about tactics, we wanted a beer with a lineage. You know, we're talking about the court, something that has been around nobility, but something really harsh as well in that respect.
Right, and
it's not coming out harsh.
Right, it's not harsh at all.
You know, we thought the barrel age would be harsher than the actual Old Rasputin. So we decided to go with the Russian Imperial Stout.
Right. This is usually a style. Well, it's not usually a style that is harsh, but it's always a style of beer that's complex. It's linked back to the Tsar. You know, the Russian Imperial Stout is the beer of the Tsar. And yeah, I mean, like, it's just it has a history of being an aristocratic drink. And that was kind of one of the things that made us want to choose this beer. The beer of, I guess, like the old guard, the old system of governance.
Yeah, which we'll, talk about how that system of government changed on a paradigm, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. So why is this an upper class beer? What goes into this beer that the lower class didn't have access to?
Right. So even now, when we're thinking about what do the classes drink, and actually, Lena is somebody who pointed this out to me. She just read a book on class, but when you think of the high class, they tend to drink wine, or even beer like this. This has been a history of the upper class, and to a lot of people, big beers that have a lot of fermentables in them. In this case, you can have coffee, you can have some sort of fruit, you can have barley, rye, any sort of grain, and then just a lot of different types of fermentables, and that kind of informs the experience of drinking the beer. And then you think of, what does the middle class drink? Well, they drink lager. At the end of the day, lager is hops, water, and barley or rice or whatever it is. It's not complex. They're drinking it for a different reason.
Yeah.
So there's a great deal of that as well. Okay, so we're getting some commentary on class in here.
What are we getting?
Oh, and also, yeah, this mic it's huge. The mic is large.
Do we not like the large mic?
I think that no, we like it, and I'm pretty sure everybody else likes the big mic too.
Oh yeah. So what are we getting about class there in the chat?
What was that?
You said we're talking.
Oh,
about
they're
Class in the
just
chat?
talking about the book that Lena read about Class.
Yeah.
And then there's Wonder Bread in here for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, this, as you said before, this was a beer that was designed to resist the cold. It was meant to preserve a long time, and especially we're going into the game that has resisted the cold of time.
Right.
The age, it's become more complex as we look back.
I think so.
But this beer's namesake,
Rasputin.
Old Rasputin.
There's, Rasputin is this larger-than-life guy who, we don't know too much about him, but we know that he wasn't nobility per se. He became a counselor, and
he wasn't no fool either.
Yeah, he weren't no fool. But there's a certain degree of mythology to Rasputin, and we'll get into mythology and this type of character who navigates social strata.
Yeah. And we chose this beer especially based off this namesake, off the fact that this beer lays you on your ass.
Yes.
And this beer is laying me on my ass, but it's like cradling me down onto my ass, and I just want to stay there.
Yeah, you do.
I'm like a cat when you pinch its neck and you just go off.
Mm. It's like one of those fainting goats.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I feel right now.
I'm a beer-triggered fainting goat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let's talk about the actual flavors then.
Yeah.
Beyond why we picked it and its history.
Yeah. So out of the flavor really closely follows the nose. I think that the flavor is very, very subdued in comparison to
the nose.
Yeah. It's really, really smooth.
Yeah.
You're not getting that bourbon heat off of it, which I actually... That was the thing that made me most apprehensive about.
Yeah. You get a warmth off it. I mean,
yeah, it's a warmth, but it's
heat.
not a heat.
Yeah,
it's not that
talking
alcohol sting.
Parabola, right? Where that hits you all at the end. Speaking of which, there actually aren't too many phases to this drink.
Yeah, it's a very uniform experience. Yeah. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but
it's Russian nobility.
There you go.
It's a set system.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But yeah, so it follows the nose. It has like these warm caramel notes, vanilla, bourbon.
It does the toucan Dan. It follows its nose.
That's right.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to see in this beer a bit more would be a presence of the oak, because even though there is that bourbon barrel aged like essence that you get out of it, it's not oaky per se.
Are you getting a maple out of it though?
Let me see. I am getting like a warm flavor like that.
Yeah.
But let's see.
I get a touch in the aftertaste.
Yeah, I was gonna say
if it sits a bit.
If it's there for me, it's in the aftertaste. It really just reminds me of one of the barrel aged stouts that the brewery makes.
Yeah.
Just really, really candied. Toffee. That's what I'm getting. Not so much maple.
Okay.
As I'm getting toffee. Yeah. So how about mouthfeel?
This mouthfeel is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's the carbonation doesn't sting the tongue; it gives it a sensual massage. Like it tingles in there. It is so goddamn nice.
No, it's really nice. It's light, but at the same time, it's just a touch oily, and it's got like a little bit of, I don't know. It's just delicate for what it is, and it's really surprising. I think it's pretty. That's probably my favorite aspect, actually.
Yeah, I'm definitely giving mouthfeel a full score once we get to it. But that's.
I think I missed something on chat. I think that somebody must have said something about mouthfeel, because there's some ew going on in the chat.
It's natural.
Yeah, just let it happen.
Whatever you said, let it happen.
What about the appearance? We always do this. We always save the appearance for last for some stupid backwards reason.
We know where our priorities are.
Yeah, that's true.
Holy shit.
Gotta get into it.
It's, again, like last time, this is opaque.
Yeah. There actually is a lot. There's some variance to it on the edges, which is kind of expected from something with this much booze in it. The lacing is somewhat minimal.
Not quite as good as Sublimely Self-Righteous. As
Yeah, which
is
kind of interesting.
Even the coloring is pretty standard. It's not like what did we talk about? Old Viscosity,
right?
Where it's just like orange on the top. You know damn well what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something that is unremarkable about this beer, I'd probably say it's the appearance. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can't.
It's only skin deep, you know.
Right. So overall, I think this is an awesome beer.
Yeah, it actually is kind of blowing me away. This actually has a lower score than Old Rasputin on Beer Advocate, and I am enjoying it a lot more.
Well, probably just because it is so different from the base recipe.
Yeah.
Spending time in a barrel, that can mellow out some of the crazy notes.
Yeah.
So I think that aging this beer is a good idea, and actually aging this in the bottle, for years to come would be good too. I think it'd really warm it up.
Might have to, man.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go and do the 1 through 5 for all the categories. So what do you got for appearance?
For appearance, I mean, we got the 3 range. It's standard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what an ugly beer looks like.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But it is standard. But let's see if on the show we ever get below 3 for appearance.
It's my mission now.
Yeah. But pick out the ugliest beer you can find.
Yep.
Actually,
the ugliest beer I ever saw was Natty Ice that was dyed green because it was like St.
Patty's Day.
Yeah, so that shit happens.
That is ugly.
Yeah. So how about aroma? What are you giving aroma?
That is up there at the 4.5.
Yeah. I would probably give it a 4.5 as well, if not a little bit higher, like a 4.75. But 4.5 is good.
Yeah.
I think that's sufficient. The taste, I would personally give probably like a 4.25 because it's not as good as the nose.
Yeah.
But together, the experience is good.
Yeah. I could agree with that.
Yeah. And then overall, or the mouthfeel, rather.
Mouthfeel.
Yeah, I think that's about...
It's a 5, dog.
Yeah, it's just just about as good as it gets.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah. Oh, Pig just asked if we remember that beer we had in Qingdao that tasted like vinegar.
Yeah, that was...
the black lager?
Yeah, the black lager. That shit was disgusing.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. We paid a lot of money for it.
We did. That was really sad.
Yeah, so that was that was Qingdao official dark lager, Yeah. As you know, everybody knows Qingdao is the birthplace of beer culture, as they will tell you on every sign on the street.
That's for fucking sure. Yeah, well, let's not get into Qingdao. Qingdao is awful. Sadly, the only beer I've ever sort of liked is what Pig says about that. That's a tiny bit horrifying. Okay, so overall, what are we giving this beer?
I'm a stout whore.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go with the 4.75.
Okay.
I love me a stout.
Yeah. I think 4.75. I mean, honestly, if we were to calculate this on the old Beer Advocate model, it'd probably come out closer to like 4.6 something. But just for making these numbers.
We're such a diverse duo.
I know.
In our taste with beer.
Look at that, just like everything else, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Closing note: go buy this goddamn beer and drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn good.
Don't pay what Ryan or what Bear paid for it. That's not a good investment, honestly. I've seen this beer for cheaper.
They don't know what I paid for it.
Yeah, they don't. Don't pay above. I think you can get this beer for below 20, if I'm not mistaken. But you've overpaid for beer before, so
yeah. Well, I've got a show to run.
True
that. So let's move on to our conversation of why this beer for this game. And do you wanna load up the game? You want to head over to Theory Corner?
Yeah. So one of our new segments for the Video Games Variety Show is our Theory Corner.
Well, let's actually hold off on Theory Corner because we're not going to talk about modernity quite yet.
Okay.
Because we need to talk about links.
Okay.
But when we get into tactics proper, there's going to be a corner. And we're all going to be in it.
All right. Go.
Queuing it up?
Yep.
Here we go.
Wait, no, not yet. Just the discussion.
Just the
discussion about thematics.
Alright, man.
I'm catching up with chat.
Just thought we wanted some gameplay going. Don't yell at me in front of the kids. So as we said before, this is a beer that is tied up with nobility and with an old system of doing things. Now, Final Fantasy Tactics, unlike other Final Fantasy games where you're fighting some kind of central antagonist, coming up from, small roots to eventually saving the world, which you do in this, it has less of a supernatural slant to it so much as it has a political feel to it. This is a plot that is necessitated by politics, specifically by the royal families that Ramza is associated with, and essentially the guerrilla corps and rebellion corps that they create through their hegemony, And this hegemony extends to the church. The church is tied up in the state.
They say mommy and daddy are fighting, and then Guido corrected and said daddy and daddy are fighting.
Guido, we're a modern family.
Oh God.
Why don't you take it from there? So we're talking about politics, the church, but we're on the verge of a paradigm shift in this game, and both in the Russian nobility moving into Soviet era stuff like that.
Right. The Final Fantasy Tactics at the onset, and also Haas were playing the original PlayStation version.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
War of the Lions.
Yeah. Come on.
This is the freaking Zodiac Brave story.
It is. Zodiac Brave story. Where was I going?
You're talking about paradigm shifts.
Yeah, paradigm shift. I mean, all of these things are kind of happening at once in the onset of Final Fantasy Tactics. There's a schism between the state, there's a schism between the church and the military and all... basically everything.
On the micro level and the macro level.
Right.
Because we have schisms between friends, which are not amended as they are in previous Final Fantasies. If there's ever a schism between friends in any other Final Fantasy, they're mended by the end. Even Cypher and Squall by the end of 8 are cool again.
Right. Although I don't think they were really like friends proper.
No, they were rivals.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some loose ends here in that schisms stick. By the end of this game, it is a broken narrative. Like, not everything is put back together.
And I think that is a perfect segue into Theory Corner. It's time, bro.
We haven't talked about all the thematics.
What? Well, we got the fragmentation is going to factor into our discussion from here on out. Because fragmentation is at the center of this narrative. It's a
welcome to Theory Corner.
And that is our good friend Burke Chesterton. We're actually not quite sure who this fellow is, but we like to call him Burke Chesterton.
Yeah.
It seems appropriate, as he is a theorist, and he is smoking a pipe.
Now, really, this is the heart of modernism in theory. You can't begin to talk about theory until you have a pipe and an armchair.
Right. So, the theory, we'll say a theoretical lens that we're going to use to approach this game is modernism.
Yes.
Modernism.
Stay with us.
Well, Metal Gear last week, we were talking a lot about postmodernism and postmodernity. So tonight, we're having a game that is entrenched in modernism, which the fragmentation especially is at the core of modernism, but it kind of leads into postmodernism. But the big thing with modernism is that it's not necessarily linked to any certain point in time, like a date. It's arbitrary what the date is.
It's a response to phenomena.
Right, exactly. So in modernism, in Final Fantasy Tactics, we're looking at how people and corporations and entities are responding to change.
Hint, not fucking well.
Right. So we can probably assume that leading up to Final Fantasy Tactics, there was probably a feudalistic system where there was a clear-cut class system in terms of, the commoners and the clergy and the nobles and all these things. Because we still see them, but there's... People are able to move throughout these social situations.
Yeah. A select few are. Only ones with real grit,
i.e. Delita.
Right. And Ramza, actually. I mean, he does supersede his family.
Right.
But people like Mustadio, who are actually indicative of the change. In modernism, we have a shift from this feudal system that we're talking about into a more mercantile system. We have tradesmen who are the ones beginning to gain the money. And this is something that happens in all countries, this modernity. Now, Mustadio is born a worker. He works the mines. He's an engineer. And as important as he is and as important as the things he represents, he actually doesn't supersede his class throughout the entire game.
Right.
He is still not able to be mobile. But he is indicative of this new guard that's coming. Weaponry, guns.
Right. Yeah, and actually the interesting thing about this game is that there are hints of a proto-modern world that has been buried. What the fuck was that? Oh. That startled me. I hope that was picked up in the mic, so I just don't. So I don't look.
You probably
jumpy
just
for
look
no
like
reason.
a scared puppy.
So this is a useful way to think about the world of Final Fantasy Tactics and the struggles that all the characters have and what they're responding to, why this kind of links to all of their desires.
Things are a-changing.
The times they are a-changing, that's true.
Yeah. So we talked about social mobility and that being a factor here, and that is because of industrialization and being able to work and power being transferred downward to the worker who's producing everything, and people being able to make a name for themselves, even though only Delita and Ramza are really able to do it. The next point of modernity is fragmentation.
Right. So as we've said but haven't really explained, fragmentation is at the core of everything. Like we talked about, there are these splits between the church and the state acting as one thing, and then they all of a sudden have these mutually exclusive desires. And
mutually exclusive, but
what is it?
Non-mutually verifiable.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's right. That's a mouthful. Yeah. I'll let you say that one. So that is the source of all of the conflict, the fragmentation at that level.
Yeah.
Delita being, I guess, he experiences fragmentation through, you know, Teta's death, all of these things. You know, Ramza is ripped away from Delita and his family, and
let's start with the basic fragmentation, just so it's easiest to swallow. Ramza, his identity is he is a Belir.
yeah. Ramza, if nothing else, the one thing that you could say about him is that he has a very difficult last name.
Yeah, yeah. So within his family, he's defined by them. He's the rich, spoiled nobility at the beginning before he becomes jaded. He defines himself first by his relationship to his family, second by his relationship to Gafgarian and the mercenary crew that he's, freebooting around with.
Yeah.
And then he defines himself by the people he needs to help later. Each of these times, I mean, we have different Ramzas. These are only fragments of his persona, right? And I think that's the best way to give an example of that. I mean,
right.
Delita is the same way, actually. I mean, he's fragmented because he's not able to supersede his own character until he becomes a holy knight. That is a class and status distinction, and that gives him the mobility that he needs. And that is a mobility based on skill and power, you know?
Yep.
Aptitude.
So we'll get more into this as we play through, but I think it's time to put on the goddamn video game.
Yeah?
I think so. We've been streaming for 30 minutes.
That's true.
It's time.
One more thing for Theory Corner before we get out of it. We got to talk about epistemology real quick.
Yeah. I can't believe we didn't talk about epistemology already.
Yeah. So, really quickly, when we talk about postmodernity, we're talking about ontology, which is about creation of worlds and how knowledge is, how it coalesces.
Right.
Whereas epistemology is about how one comes to know. And this is something that happens in every modernist novel, every great modernist novel. They're all detective stories. Like, at their core, we have a main character who doesn't have all the info. It's fragmented. They want to put their identity together. It was taken away from them in war. It was never told to them. You know, Faulkner, Hemingway, these are all, even Fitzgerald, these are huge themes. Especially in
Faulkner.
Yeah. This is a game about using fragmented pieces of information to try to put together an entire arc or world or story.
Right.
And we get different info from different characters, and they make different conclusions based on the info that they're given.
And I mean, if we're just talking about epistemology in like the most limited sense of the word, and we're looking at how it relates to Final Fantasy Tactics, the framing device is an epistemological framing device. We're rewriting the story of the Lion's War.
This is essentially, we've opened a book by this scholar, right? And he's basically telling us, like, you've been lied to your whole life. This is the real story.
Right. So let's boot up the game, let me tell you that we've got pistophology, pissology, and the study of pistons.
Yeah. Next episode, the study of pistons.
Study of pistons. What? Let's see. What game would that be? I don't know, like NBA game. Isn't there a Pistons in the? I don't know. I don't know sports.
I'm not cool.
I'm not cool with the sports.
Well, this game is your love. Would you like to?
Sure. Let's switch seats.
You want the headphones?
I do. Yeah, this is the driver's seat, my friend. Now you get to.
I get to run the chat.
Yes, you do. Oh, shit.
Don't you knock our whole setup over. It's beautiful.
I'll try not to. All right, so. What should we name? Well, no, we can't name Ramza.
We can't?
No, I think he is just Ramza.
I think we could name... If we can name Ramza, what should we name Ramza?
No, we're not loading. There we go. Here we go.
You can name him. Jeanette renamed him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. His name is Holland.
Yeah.
What's up with that, anyways?
She loves that junk.
Holland? Like
yeah.
The country?
Yeah, and the person.
Who is the person?
I think she got it from an anime.
Okay.
So we're waiting on people to tell us what to name the main character. I think first shout out's gonna get it. I don't think Auto Mechanic Sim.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Lena says Snickle Fritz.
Snickle Fritz.
I'm not sure that's gonna fit, but we can try.
Probably not. Let's see, Snickle. Yeah, I don't think.
How about just Snick Fritz? You take out the L.
How about Snickle?
Snickle.
Snickle?
Yeah.
Well, let's see if everybody's on board with Snickle Fits. Or
Ass Nugget from Pulp Matman.
No.
He's a young man. He is the youngest son of the noble pillars of the knighthood. I mean, we can't name him Ass Nugget.
Ass Nugget Booth.
Tuck says Jim. Should name him Jim.
I can get behind Jim.
Well, we are talking about, old guard versus new guard.
Let's call him Hank.
Hank.
Or Phil. Do we have any other gems?
Mm-mm. We're still talking about piston studies.
Oh. So Ramza is a blasphemer, just like me.
Ooh. Yeah, and this guy.
Did you see that? Truth.
Yeah, I mean, and we were just introduced to this whole story by this scholar Aslam guy, who was saying, "I'm gonna lay it on you." That bowl cut hides.
Actually, you know what?
Snickle Fritz might fit.
It might. Let's see. So that's.
I think somebody's talking about his ass. I can't tell. Only because this chat is censored for us, and it's only ever
Snickle like this or L.
So he could be saying, "Look how big his dick is," but I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know how he would know. At some point.
Oh, it's fitting. There we go.
Oh, it fit. I'm gonna pop.
Snickle Fritz, it is just because it fits, and he's January 1st.
January 1st.
January 1st.
Yeah, I think they're talking ass.
Dead ass.
Yeah, they're talking about squeezing it.
Which again could still be unless he got buns, hon.
My Chocobo don't want none. Unless my Cactor got buns.
Ooh. There we go. They're excited about Snickle Fritz.
Ooh, Square presents.
If you guys want me to skip past this, let me know.
By the time it gets to them, it's gonna be over anyway.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, maybe.
Okay, so apparently Dick is not censored, so they were saying ass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Dick is a name.
Beer and Video Games Variety Show, the only time you could talk about modernity and dicks.
Exactly. Exactly.
The intro is awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah.
It is an awesome intro.
However, is the intro more or less awesome than our green screen? Now that it is in full effect.
Oh, jeez.
That's the question of the night.
We're green screening up.
We are. What are they saying? Okay. Running Chocobo.
Native American name.
Running Chocobo.
So, why don't we talk about where we were cut off on the thematic conversation? We were talking about mythos.
Right.
In regards to the supernatural, we have this character, Rasputin. And we picked Rasputin because he emulates Delita in a lot of ways. But I guess you should say it the other way around. But,
right. Well, and Ramza too. Because, well, I guess Delita to a fuller extent.
Yeah. I mean, you have this guy who kind of comes from low birth, waltzes into the court, charms everyone, and has some sort of supernatural hold on people, you know?
Right.
But we don't know. You know, Delito is the good guy, says the history books, you know? Not till later do we find out that Ramza exists. Well, no, he was a heretic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He was a scapegoat. And boy, can we talk about scapegoats in this game.
Yeah, at every corner there's a goddamn scapegoat. It's like, being a scapegoat is fashionable in this game. You know?
You're not cool unless you're a scapegoat.
There we go. Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Ow!
The Goochmeister.
Gooch. Even though this game is far more Tactics Ogre inspired than Final Fantasy.
Yeah, well,
you know,
yeah.
By far.
True dat. Here we go.
The green screen is pretty sweet, actually.
God, please help us, sinful children. Yeah, so this is interesting because this is a world in which this works.
Yeah.
Only not really.
We got a little slit on the green screen, so I'm just gonna...
Do we? Let's see.
There we go, that should fix it.
Princess. Ooh. I forgot how much I like the sound of the text appearing.
Ooh, yeah, it's beautiful.
It's real nice. Actually, there are a lot of great sounds in this game. I don't always talk about sound in games, but this is... Well, actually, all the Final Fantasies have pretty good sounds.
Yeah. You know what game that this game actually borrows a lot of sound from is Xenogears.
Oh, okay.
They share a lot of the same sounds.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Around the same time, same team.
Yeah. You know, even the sprites look the same, quite frankly. Actually, yeah, and Xenogears is one of the first RPGs to have that full 3D world.
Yeah.
Like Tactics. So, there's a lot of overlay going on there.
Oof.
You know, both heavily atheistic. A good time in gaming.
Yeah. What one must do to make money. What, Snickle Fritz? You have a problem too?
What, Snickle Fritz? It sounds like that's not his real name, but that's like it's a nickname that Kafgarian gave him. Yeah,
yeah, he's like, oh, this guy, he's such an ass. Let's call him Snickle Fritz. He's like the Proby of the firehouse, you know, who just gets a bunch of hell.
Yeah, he's like, and that he just calls it's like Snickle Fritz and like Rumpelfats. Yeah. So now that we know Gafgarian's an old codger who gives people names.
Knave. What's up?
He says these graphics look like something that fell off his dick in the war.
Who said that?
Tux. No. That was Matt. That was Matt.
No, okay.
And then Tux said the War of 1812.
Rad, Snickle Fritz, follow me.
That doesn't even sound like a name now. It's like, dude, that's rad, Snickle Fritz. He's turning into the dude. That's rad, dude.
You know, I personally love these fucking graphics. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Kill them all. That's Gafgarian. He didn't have to do that, you know?
No.
Like, he's not required to kill them all. But, and it's like the money is not going to change.
Yeah.
He's just an evil asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
in a very pragmatic way.
Well, right. You know, we were talking when we were planning the show that, you know, if there's anything you can say about Gafgarian, it's that he's very pragmatic. Mm-hmm. He will only do things if they benefit him. Let's see. Let's put Ramza right out on the front line.
Well, okay. So let's talk about it like this. Should we put Ramza, Delita, and Gafgarian in a trio, right?
Darn it.
And we want to talk about them thematically and how they connect with each other. And we have Ramza, who's always the idealist. We have Delita, who's also a pragmatist, but he is a pragmatist with a goal insofar as that he wants to restore a world order. He thinks that something went wrong in the world. and he actually wants to restore the knighthood, you know, the courtly lifestyle. Whereas Gafgarian is not only pragmatic and realistic, you said worldly. You know, he wants to put bread on his table, and he wants to kill people while he does it.
Right. Yeah, it's really bad when somebody who is just like inherently evil is also a pragmatist, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's bad for business for a mercenary to leave people alive. I mean,
right. Yeah, so I mean,
and he gives Ramza shit about it.
Right.
You know, telling him that he needs to get over his idealism and move on and kind of get on Gafgarian's level. which is cause for a schism later in the game,
right,
that we see. Of course, this is all kind of setting up a weird friendship between them because this is a flash forward, right? This is not the beginning of the game. We're going to go back to the beginning of the game after this fight.
Which is really interesting. I do like the temporal shift in this game. What's going on in the chat?
They're talking about when it was, which was the best war to get your dick amputated in.
Let's try to unpack that.
Yeah. I'm not sure we can get Socratic with that one. Like,
well, you know,
it's too far gone.
Well, let's talk about what wars were bad for that. I would say the Civil War.
Well, yeah, we have Walt Whitman's The Wound Dresser and talking about bloody stumps. So
there you go.
Bloody stump isn't the best way you want to describe an amputated dick.
Jesus. This is chat for the people on YouTube who might be watching this. This is not us.
Oh yeah.
We are responding to our chat. Perhaps to our detriment.
Bilgamesh is here. Bilgamesh just hit the scene.
What's up, Mr. Bo Bandy?
Bilgamesh Bo Bandy.
Oh, speaking of which, do we have our shout-out reel going on right now?
We do have our shout-out reel going.
Because we actually didn't start off the episode with shout-outs.
No, we did not.
Which is a big no-no. So, please refer to the ticker, because there are some people that
to the fine print.
Yeah, there's some people I can't remember, but I think that one of them is Twitter handle I love you so much, Bay.
Yeah, that was one.
Thank you, I love you so much, Bay, for giving us a retweet on Twitter. Thank you to Bill, of course. Thank you to Melody. Thank you to Six Nerdy Chicks. Thank you. Let's see, who else? There's Twitter handle C_ZVN. Thank you, CZVN. Let's see. I know I'm missing somebody, but
Fat fucking piggy pig.
Fat fucking piggy pig. How could I forget fat fucking piggy pig? Stasis sword, man. Love this skill.
Hey, apparently Ricardo is watching too.
What's up, Ricardo?
You know Ricardo? You remember him? This is the guy who was watching you MGS speedrun on the patio.
Oh, there we go. What's up, Rick? If Rick is indeed on this, say something in the chat, man. There might be some lurkers in the chat.
Some
lurkers. How many people are watching right now? Oof! Wow. We're down.
We're down?
People have left.
Yeah, I feel like we were going real strong in the theory corner, and then,
I thought theory corner went real nicely.
Yeah.
You know, but
we have this fantastic. Let's get back on the train.
Yep.
Let's get back on the train. So we talked about Gafgarian as this kind of mirror.
What the hell?
Why don't we talk about Ramza?
Okay.
Let's talk about him with how he mirrors Delita.
Yeah, so we were talking about how there's like a triangle of... Well, you already brought that up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
okay,
we only
so-
talked about Gafgarian.
Right, so...
If we have Gafgarian on one side, which is complete worldly pragmatism, we have Ramza on this side in idealism, and we have Delita right here in the middle.
Right, so Delita is... He is a cynic. He's very jaded. You know, he's been the victim of some pretty shady stuff. You know, he witnessed his sister die. What?
Matt says that Theory Corner was funny in theory.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to.
Right. So Delita is the cynic to Ramza's optimist. And, you know, Ramza is very idealistic, but Delita is not. You know, he knows that people are inherently wicked, and they're going to do whatever they need to do.
And this knight right here who we're looking at is Delita.
Right. And he just punched the...
He punched a chick in the stomach and threw her on a bird. And then sat on her.
Blame yourself or God. Look at that. Like...
Cutting.
Yeah.
Right, and so let's unpack that line then in regards to his character as a pragmatist.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's funny because Delita blames himself for not being able to protect Teta.
Yeah.
He blames himself for not being able to
and
do
this
a lot
is
of
all
things,
after
actually.
that happened.
Right. Yeah, we're going back in time now to the beginning when they're both still childhood friends. Because I know I kind of skipped past that, but basically Ramza said, "Oh my God, that's Delita. That's my childhood friend," and he hasn't seen him for a while. All right, now this I think we can't fast forward.
You can't talk about sexism till Agrius hits the scene.
Who wants to talk about sexism?
Lena.
Sexism.
She doesn't really. So, blame yourself or blame God. This is coming from a place of hate, you know. He knows what he has the ability to do, and that's what he's going to do, and he's going to mock people who don't have that ability.
Right.
Because it actually wasn't imparted on him by family, like Ramza.
Right. Yeah,
Which is funny that he wants to restore the courtly order, having absolutely no claim to it. But I guess it makes a lot of sense if he's going to be king. So.
Yeah. It's a really interesting moment, and it's very telling of Delita, but it's also telling of the whole world, you know? Because, actually, if we're looking at this game, God and man are equally culpable for why the world is so messed up.
So this, I think Matt actually said something constructive.
Okay, what'd he say?
He said that this is Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. Because it is so politically
Ain't
charged.
that the truth?
Yeah. And if we talk about Tactics Ogre, this game's predecessor, that game is Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones.
Tactics Ogre, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
That'll be a whole different week.
Right.
Yeah, where we're not going to be drinking beer, we're just going to be on straight painkillers because...
Yeah, we're going to have to drink like a beer that's like 50% alcohol because that game is just painful.
It is. It is. It is like...
People always lose their shit because they say Dark Souls is
It is like getting the penectomy in the war, and you got to just take that shot.
Right.
Pain.
Right.
So Delita is this major dark horse in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Very Marlovian character.
Oof.
Coming up from the bottom. All the way to the top to almost near infinite power. Only by sheer...
Right.
But like with every Marlovian character, there's a fall as well.
And the interesting thing is that the fall is so... It's just like this very, very weak moment. You know, that topples this guy who basically does, at the end of the game, have infinite power. And That's this game in a nutshell too. I
Yeah.
mean, like Delita basically.
Yeah. So we
understanding Delita on a deep level is to understand this game. On a deep
so
level.
we have this moment where Delita's not the main character of this game, but he manipulates politics throughout the game. You get windows of him, and by the end, he is king. Actually, the main character who you play as, Ramza, is branded as a heretic throughout history.
No, we're not saving.
No way. And he's forgotten, essentially, or at least hated as he goes. Delita becomes
Hannibal. Nice.
Delita becomes king. He has so much power, and he becomes king by kidnapping this princess and marrying her, or saving her so they get married. And he brings her flowers, and she stabs him in the stomach. And that's his only moment of weakness. That's the only point where he's ever a decent human being, where he's like, look, I know I fucking treated you like shit and kidnapped you and dragged you around the world, but let's make it work. He gets a prompt knife to the stomach.
He does.
And that's the end of his rule.
Yep.
And that's this game.
Nice. So we have some people who have pretty high brave and faith numbers.
And Bill says that he would love us to see Tactics Ogre. Or he would love us to play Tactics Ogre.
We will. We'll probably do a Tactics Ogre episode, and then have an episode after that is doing both of them at the same time. So
yeah, just absolutely
side by side play.
Fantastic game. Like, I will venture to say better than this one. You haven't played Tactics Ogre all the way through.
I haven't completed it yet. Yeah.
But really, really gritty. There's an aspect of choice that's there that's not available in this game. So, after all the shit that happens to Delita and everything he does in the game, you know, blaming himself for his sister's death, moving his way up to the top, all of these things, all the same things happen to Ramza.
Right.
But they go very different ways.
Yeah, and I was going to say to a lesser extent, too, like less severe in terms of... even that's not true, though. It's just completely different. And it's perhaps not helpful to equate their experiences, because or try to match them up against each other, because, I mean, there is... God damn it.
Snicklefritz is a very noble name with a long lineage.
Snicklefritz, boo.
Just like this beer. Can we talk about the beer again?
Well, no, because it's gone.
God, it's just a heavy bottle?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a... Let's see. Alright, Ramza.
Oh.
What you doing?
God.
Going to the front lines.
I blame you, not God.
Boom.
I still want it. Delita specifically told you not to rush in. You better be careful, buddy.
I'm gonna get up here, throw a rock.
So, where are we? So, if Delita and Ramza are binaries of the same character, we can also say that Ramza is actually the embodiment of every theme happening in this game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he experiences everything. He is the micro to the macro of this world. What do we write? I mean, he embodies revenge. He embodies being jaded. He embodies being privileged. Where did it go? Versus that social mobility, being able to move around. He's been deceived, and he is defined by his human interactions. We have all of these things going on. So right now we're at phase 1. He's not being deceived quite yet.
Well, but well, I think it is actually already in motion that he's being deceived. because we know that Dystarg and Galbaz are already conspiring. They know that they're
older brothers, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, he knows that they both know that their father is dying, and that's going to make a power vacuum in terms of the nobility. Let's get him up here and whack her in the head.
Ramza could beat up Ultron, by the way. Yeah, he could.
Oh no, I was saying no. I got too high. I thought that he would be able to bring it down.
Oh, if we could only explain your life that way. You got too high, didn't you, Andrea?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's see. We're waiting. Let's see if we can kill this guy right now. Nope, because she's gonna do 9 damage like a chump.
Like a chump.
Like a poet. Alright. Let's see if you do more than 9 damage.
Yeah. Well, notice that the female squires need to show they're wearing dresses, and they'll armor all the rest of their limbs, but they need to be modest in their appearance.
Oof.
So. Oh!
Look at that.
Oh, is he gonna get a potion?
No, he's gonna get a freaking.
He's gonna get a sword to the dome.
Yeah, he is. Now, the first time I played Tactics Ogre, I was really irked that I couldn't rotate the camera and I couldn't do the shift up.
Yeah.
That's what makes this game so playable in comparison.
Yeah, well, we're talking Tactics Ogre is a Super Nintendo game. We're not working off hardware like this. It's not even full 3D.
Right. Which, I mean, is unfortunate. What are you gonna do, though?
Bill's down with the soundtrack. I'm down with the soundtrack.
The soundtrack in this game is awesome. But, I mean, we've come to expect that of the Final Fantasy franchise.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who needs a potion? You? Maybe. You? No?
Nope. Oh, he needs it.
There you go.
Delete.
Delete it. Why you
You gotta
weak chump?
You gotta support him for a bit before he becomes a complete asshole later.
Right. Because that makes it hurt more.
Yeah. I gave you that potion!
Remember that one time? Yeah, what about that one time? Ooh, did he kill him?
Jeez.
Wow.
This guy. Powerhouse.
Yeah, man. He's like a can of piss in Tactics Ogre.
Yeah, he kind of swoops in with his spear. And... Ooh.
Well, what say you, my friend?
I died a lot in this battle the first time I played it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole taking it strategically thing, and I just wanted to bum rush him.
Well, you can bum rush in this game and actually face no consequences. It's pretty nice.
Sometimes. There are certain points in the game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, if you're not careful with this game, it's gonna rip you a new asshole.
Yeah. Whereas Tactics Ogre, you can be careful with the game, and it's still gonna rip you a new asshole.
Right? There's no respite. You're just gonna get killed.
There is no reprieve from the anal.
Yeah, Tactics Ogre is just ridiculous.
It's so good.
Come on.
Holland, I don't know why you don't remember this. This is the first level. I cannot help you.
What's chat up to? What are they saying?
Oh yeah, Matt wants us to play Xenogears.
We will.
Oh baby,
We will.
Xenogears. I'm getting faint over here.
Are they gonna? Well, yeah, of course.
Tuck says Matt's right. This game lacks Xenogears. Well, it. Xenogears are proper. I mean, there's. Yeah, I guess that is. No spoilers for Jack over here. But, oh yeah, we got Ellie running down a hallway in a very, like, Shining-esque scene.
Who?
Ooh, we're talking about Xenogears.
Oh, okay.
So nice. Shining references in it.
Anything that has Shining references is good in my book. Especially if it's a video game.
Yeah.
Alright, Ramza, get all up in this guy's face.
Yeah!
Boom.
Yeah!
Get him, Skeeter.
Fuck you, chemist.
I hate chemists, dude. They always find a way.
Because
watch, I'm gonna
jobs after college and shit.
Right. Dude, I'm gonna get this chemist down to like 2 HP.
He's gonna use a potion. Okay, let's see if you can throw a rock at him.
That's all it's gonna take. Do I have it? Oh yeah.
Who is that?
Oh, please kill him.
She's the new Skeeter.
She is. She's Skeeter.
That's Skeeter. What's her name?
Skeeter.
What was her name?
We don't refer to her by her
Skeeter
her
has
birth
turned
name.
a potion.
No, we don't need it.
I think she's gonna die.
Who's gonna kill her?
That Squire? Or is that your Squire?
That's me, dog.
Oh.
After this battle, do you want to take
No,
over?
that guy.
What's he gonna do? He's not gonna kill Skeeter. He does 12 damage. And that's not even Skeeter.
Yeah, I think Skeeter has 2 health.
So I'm gonna get right here, bust this guy's dome open. Oh, speaking of busting people's domes open, accumulate is... well, actually, is there a skill like accumulate in Tactics Ogre? Because that is the most...
accumulate? Oh, no.
That is the most useful fucking skill in this whole game. Accumulate, dude. Because, like, usually it takes a good 2-3 turns to get to somebody.
Yell is really good.
Yeah, because that increases your speed, right?
Yeah. Skeeter!
Dude, Skeeter's on fire! And there we go. So, thus the Hokuten came and pillaged and did all that stuff.
Me in the driver's seat, dog.
There you go. I get to address chat now.
Yeah. You get
Sure
to
they
talk
were missing
about
me.
why this game is so awesome.
Well, this game is awesome. I mean, aside from the gameplay and the aesthetic and the themes, one of the things that I really love about this game is that it has, even though some parts of the story are a bit simplistic, the characters themselves are never simplistic. They're never like hammy. They're never archetypical, you know.
Which is interesting because you only actually play as one character. You have a team, but they're non-people. Like they're defined by their class. They're tools for you.
Right.
They literally have no personality. You never once talk to any of them.
Don't you?
You can buy them.
And don't you feel like an asshole when you fire one and they say something and
dude,
it just breaks
it's
your heart?
The worst. It's the worst when you fire chocobos.
Yeah, the chocobos.
Yeah, when you find a chocobo in your party and you try to kick them out of the party and they're like, "Go home." I thought this was my home.
And this game, like, really, it really just fucks with you after a certain point because after you have your first chocobo, it starts laying eggs, and then you have 50 chocobos, and you're like, God damn, like I can hardly get through this screen to change jobs and equip stuff. I gotta get these chocobos out. You have to fire 15 chocobos and hear the same thing over and over.
You gotta get them when they're eggs.
Yeah, you have to abort them.
Yeah, because they can't talk.
Let's see. So let's see what these people are.
Do I need to buy stuff here?
No, not yet. All right. So. Yeah, the cutscenes in this game are good too. This game is pretty dark. It's pretty bleak. It's pretty hopeless. But at the end of the day, you get these...
It's dark and hopeless as we watch a man on his deathbed with slow maudlin music.
After you have indiscriminately killed like 5 people.
Yeah. Mostly non-people.
Yeah. But you get these cutscenes, like, especially in the first chapter, with Dolita and Ramza with later you have some with, I think you have cutscenes with Agrius and Ramza, all these people who in
Zalbag. Sorry,
Zalbag.
we forgot his name earlier.
No, I said it.
No. Zalbag.
Although I was looking at an updated, more localized version of their names, and his name is Zalbag with 2 A's.
Okay, Zalbag.
Zalbag,
it's not
yeah.
Stop Bracelet or Fire Bracelet.
Right, exactly.
This game has a solid translation, by the way.
Right. It's about as...
Yeah. We're talking about any time in this game when they mean to say the word breath, it's translated as bracelet. So when a dragon is supposed to cast fire breath on you, it casts fire bracelet. Or when an assassin is casting stop breath, it's stop bracelet. So we have these bedazzled ass dragons running around trying to deck you out.
Yeah. They're trying to sell you. They're like, buddy, buy this bracelet.
It's been a long time since I've been a fine man.
All right, so aside from this one, all of the, I guess, scenes that kind of reaffirm humanity happen in the cutscenes after this. But again, just because how dark this game is, you kind of lose that by the end of the game. So I don't know. This game is complex, and it goes through a lot of tonal shifts. It goes through a lot of
with every chapter, you know. Yeah, and that's reflected in the costumes or armor or gear that they wear as you go through. You know, you have stage 1 where Ramza has his Beluv jersey on,
right?
You know, Team Beluv. Next chapter he's going to be armored, and the chapter after that he's going to be like the classic Amano hero armor. You know.
Gotta love that Amano aesthetic.
Yeah, the nice Speedo. The chapter 2 Ramza is the one that they were all complimenting his ass in.
Yeah, because by Act 2, his ass is significantly whipped into shape.
Oh yeah,
Well,
he's been running around
He's
the world.
weathered. He has been through.
We can say the world has gone not to his head, but his ass.
We're really obsessing over asses in this stream for some reason. Well, we do it for the kids, right?
For the kids. Okay, so we're only allowed to have 4 people. So which one was Skeeter? Julia was Skeeter, right?
Julia, yes. It was Julia or the other female squire, whose name I can't remember. Margot.
I think
it was Margot, because her brave score is higher, which means that she has a higher physical attack.
Okay, but you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
No, I see Julia's level 2. So
then it has to be her, and that's true.
I know Skeeter when I see her. Do you want this chemist, or should we go with Dorith?
No, just this chemist, because we used him in the first. You just started with 4. Was that the cap?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's usually 5, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Didn't we say don't feed the trolls in the bottom scroller?
Yeah, they're not looking at the ticker.
They're not looking at the ticker.
I told you that the ticker would not be
seen.
Yeah, after a certain point.
Still breathing, still braceleting. What'll we do? We just get to the Marquis.
We have to get the Marquis.
The Marquis.
Do you need some water, homeboy?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, get some water.
And then I was left alone with the stream. Alright people, I'm going to ask you this. Is it our duty to destroy the Death Core, or is saving him our priority? Vagrant's story was retconned into the continuity, by the way, but then later on, the creator of Vagrant's story said that Final Fantasy was, you know, basically bullshit and it's not connected. It's its own game. Saving him is your destroy the death course. Alright. Thanks, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was gonna pick that one anyway. So I asked them whether we should save August or not, and they didn't give me good answers.
What did they say?
See for yourself.
I don't think we should because he's awful.
He is awful, but they don't know that.
Alright, so spooky.
Spooky?
Spooky donkey.
Oh! Delita just threw a critical rock.
Just threw like a cinder block. Ah, yes. So, one of the things... playing into how this story is unique amongst all the other Final Fantasies is that... Well, I guess I'll just ask the chat. Who is the central villain of this game? We'll see what kind of answers we get. No, Guido. I'm not surprised. But that's why we like you.
Is that why we like him?
And yeah, Algus is, as Haas is saying, such a dick. He sucks. I mean, like, he's a seriously evil guy. He sucks. Try it anyways.
This isn't Tactics Ogre.
Yeah. Joffrey. Joffrey is he's the central villain of this game.
And August, really?
Voldemort. Okay, yeah, Voldemort. That's a viable option.
Can Ramza throw stones?
No.
Well, he's going up front anyway.
Let's see. Snicklefritz is the main villain.
Ooh, if you believe history.
Yeah, that's true. Guido does have a point.
This guy!
A lot of people after this story is done would say that Ramza is the main villain. But we are not those people.
No, we're intelligent.
Yes.
Phobos! Phobos the tiger.
Fusroda.
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 Kill him, August.
Jafar. History don't lie. History don't lie. Snicklefritz is the bastard of the world.
And I think that was to segue into a conversation, in fact, that there really is no central villain.
There's a system that is I mean, it's inherently flawed, inherently evil, but it's a system. It's composed of the church, the state, parts of the military, mercenaries. Everything really does play into being the villain, being the force that disturbs the peace. You know, it's a huge long war, and a lot of people die, and you don't really know why. You know, at the end of the day, you're like, well, that happened. And so there's no central bad guy. And you know, you get Ultima at the end, but okay.
Yeah.
And that's interesting that that's how the game ends. With this, yeah, it's kind of like Garland, you know. Garland kind of comes out of nowhere in Final Fantasy IX, and Garland is actually he's just like a spokesperson for, you know, the order that he represents. So,
and Ultima is the same way. Ultima is a god essentially who is summoned, and you know, she's just doing her damn job. Like, That's what she does. That's what they called her for.
Hey, Vexy Vampire, what's up?
Vexy Vampire's
Vexy
here.
Vampire.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. I don't know why there was like a silence that happened after that just made me somewhat uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You dropped the ball on that one. It's supposed to be in unison.
Oh.
Come on, man. No, so yeah, I mean, there's a parallel between this game and 9, like, rather obviously, because that's what Final Fantasy IX does. It draws from the best aspects of all of the games in the franchise. Yeah, there we go. So Haas says that Final Fantasy IX is the most underrated. I would say that with diehard fans, probably not underrated. But yeah, when it comes to just people talking about Final Fantasy, 9 is usually down around the bottom. Or maybe not in the bottom, because we all know that 8's in the bottom, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, and 8. They get the short end of the stick.
People hate that shit.
They do, man. Which is funny, though, because, you know, with any game that gets a lot of hate, there's going to be a lot of fanboys, too. Like, it's a very polarizing game. And the two poles are very hyperbolized, just because it was, you know, it's the reactionary nature of
I mean, it's
experience.
doing something very different. It is it's a drama. I mean, it's
Vexy likes
romance.
4.
Well, 4 is tits, so yeah. I was gonna talk about 4 in the context of being underrated, but it's actually among fanboys is not underrated at all.
Right.
Solid characters going on in 4.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at, you know, what most diehards would say is the top tier, that 9. Okay, so if we're looking at 4, 6, 7, and 9. A lot of people are gonna overlook 9 or put it in the bottom half of that top tier. You know,
Yeah.
There's always that battle between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's interesting because this game is never talked about within those the numbered Final Fantasies, which, you know, I usually throw this game in there.
Final Fantasy IV is dark, which is nice. You know, talking about this game. Until Moon Babies get involved, that game is really solid. Like one of the best precursors.
Okay, so Matt brought up the horrible strategy guide for Final Fantasy IX. Did you have it?
No.
Okay, well, I got Final Fantasy IX for Christmas the year it came out, so I must have been like in 5th grade, I think.
Yeah.
And I had my strategy guide, and I had the game, and...
Is he not dead?
You know, I would... No, dude. You know, I would go on to look something up, because, you know, it said that, you know, we have this, what was it? Was it, like, PlayStation Portal or something? Like, it was this, like...
I remember that.
It was like that weird wiki, you know, and it was terrible. Somebody, what's the name of it? Was it Portal or something like that?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of it was. But yeah, it was complete. It was incomplete, and you'd go on this website, and it was just terrible. And I don't even think it lasted that long. I don't think it's live anymore for some pretty obvious reasons. You know, but that, you know, I like that I have it because it's, you know, good to have a notorious, you know, collector's item because you know because it has this awful,
sort of like
awful
sentimental value or
you know, it's
legacy
like,
of
like,
awfulness.
It's like liking one of those B horror movies from like the 60s and 70s. Like there's the bed that eats people. You know, like people love that shit. You know, and they like having
there is a book that kills
videotapes.
people in Final Fantasy IX.
There is.
That shit will kill you.
It will. You have to be very prepared. Play on. Yeah, play online. That's what it was. Play online. I actually don't have the Final Fantasy Tactics strategy guide, but Haas does, because he brings up right now. I would imagine that it would just be pretty standard old school guide.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy VII
Prima
guide.
Prima guide, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have Final Fantasy 7s, 8s, and 9s somewhere. Although and 10 also, I think. God.
Oh, 10. August.
He's just face down in the dirt. Why'd you have to save him, Snickle Fritz?
Still breathing, let's
You and your idealism and youth.
Now that it's an afterthought, like, I was like, no, our purpose is to kill them. I don't know who that guy is.
Alright, Guido, thanks for stopping by, man. Cheers. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Bill has the Final Fantasy Tactics original Japanese strategy guide in his room with a mono book also that is really awesome and trippy.
Gotta have the Amano book.
Yeah, the Amano book is just... It's really a shame that Final Fantasy VI didn't get that aesthetic across,
Well,
like,
none of them did. I mean, they couldn't.
They couldn't.
Like,
well, I mean, that...
In their portraits,
yeah.
But that's it.
It just sucks that Final Fantasy VI wasn't just pushed back a little bit, because 7 is the first time you have.
And by the time 7, they're looking at Amano's concept art and they're putting it on the fridge. Like, good job. Like, we're gonna keep this for a long time.
Yeah. And then he leaves the room and they're like,
Jesus
well, I'm glad I have something to wipe my ass with.
Belu. A hooked him.
God, look at him. Look at his scowl and his lack of nose. He has a distinct lack of nose.
This is a world where everything progressed normally except humans never developed noses.
Right. Yeah.
It's a distinct... Well, if we go with the old adage that somebody chops their nose to spite their face, it seems everybody just chopped their nose off in this game because they want to spite a lot of faces.
If there's a running theme in this, it's
nose chopping.
Nose chopping and spite.
Yeah.
Those things kind of go hand in hand in this world.
Oh, the marquee. All right, let's do that.
Oh man! So Vexy says that first that this Final Fantasy is so much fun, which kicks ass. I mean, I think that this is probably the funnest to play, just because, the tactical element to it and the geography and all that stuff that goes into having compelling gameplay.
I mean, it's a Final Fantasy where you're fighting the whole time, and so many times in other Final Fantasies, you come to a random battle and you roll your eyes and you're like, God damn it. But this one, you're like, that's the point of the game. That's what you want to do. You like the random battles. They're fun. Yeah.
Well, and they're incredibly useful, just getting your skills and getting more JP and all that good stuff, But then Vexy says that... I think Vexy's a female. I think she says that, she used to rent it a lot. Now, that takes me back, renting games.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, God, I can't even remember the last time I rented a game. It must have been when I was in... Actually, it might have been around this time. It might have been in the 90s. Because I don't think that I ever... rented a game after I got a job for the first time.
You're like, now that it's my money.
Yeah, I just ran out and bought stuff. It's just a video game hoarder and all all that stuff.
Speaking of like callbacks to other times, like this is such a Tactics Ogre scene here. Tactics Ogre loves rooms and talking.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, and like Game of Thrones, there's always a point where somebody says leave us, and then everybody leaves, but then one person says not you. Like every episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, seriously.
And he's probably going to tell August to leave, and he's going to be like, hey, Ramza, let me tell you some stuff.
Yeah, Dice Dark is definitely the
Tywin.
The Tywin Lannister.
Yeah.
Just the evil bastard.
Oh, he didn't tell anybody to leave. He's being jovial today.
I didn't want to mess up the pronouns, Vexy. So, thank you for verifying that.
My family was once respected by the Beowulfs. But then we couldn't pronounce their name one day.
And so we fell from grace.
We fell from grace.
They knew that we were...
For 50 years, I could not speak to your family. Not until every living family member from that time had passed.
Yep, we're getting a lot of love for Tywin Lannister.
Ooh.
But Dice Dark doesn't receive the same affection.
Yeah. Well, who is Delita in Game of Thrones?
Let's see. That's an interesting question. Let me think about it. Who do you guys think Delita is in the Game of Thrones universe? I mean, maybe
Lord Baelish.
Maybe, yeah, I was gonna say maybe Littlefinger.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Littlefinger, Delita? I think that you could certainly make a case for that.
You could make a case. There's some very large differences as well.
Right. Obviously, Baelish is...
He doesn't want to get his hands dirty himself. Like, you'll never find that guy on a battlefield.
Right, and Delita is all about getting his hands dirty if he needs to. You know, he doesn't seek to do it, but you know, he finds himself in situations where that is just the logical thing to do. Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
Not Jon Snow. Not Theon.
Christ.
Algus is Theon.
There is no shit in Tactics Ogre. There's a really good Theon parallel.
Okay.
Yeah, in Tactics Ogre.
Yeah. Let's see.
There's a character, I won't tell you who it is because you haven't played it, but they just...
Yeah, Lena brings up the fact that Theon would have fit right into the earlier discussions.
There's a character in Tactics Ogre who he's captured, they torture the hell out of him, and then for the rest of his life he sits in a chair. Like, he won't move, he won't talk, he kind of just rocks and looks out a window.
Jeez. Reek.
Yeah. It's bad.
Pillar cutting. Badass. There's a character in Tactics Ogre that gets his dick cut off.
You know, I'm not saying that he does, but we can't verify that it doesn't happen either.
All right, in this world where noses are absent, in the removal of the noses, you know, flippant action.
Yeah.
That one has to question how they feel about cutting off other things. It's implied. So Delita, are we sold on him being Peter Baelish? I mean,
I think he has to be.
Because there isn't really
an opportunist of low birth who works his way up. I mean,
yeah, I mean, with the class thing, there's really no one else who fits that role. So yeah, I suppose. Interesting. Who's Ramza then?
Ramza could actually be Jon Snow. I see. Because he's not actually.
He's an idealist. Yeah. And he's also an idealist to probably a stupid point.
Yeah. Hey, he wins at the end. He wins.
I guess.
And tell me Jon Snow's not going to be the hero of the series. He's gonna.
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
And Ramza does know nothing.
Exactly.
You know nothing, Ramza.
Snickle Fritz.
Snickle Fritz, boof. ha 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 ha. Yeah, see, that's where the ha 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 came from.
Any Final Fantasy X fans out there?
Yeah, yeah. I guess let's pose that to the audience. Anybody? Does anybody just love Final Fantasy X? Because that's our reaction. God, that's so shitty. Oh man, so bad.
God.
So bad, dude. What were they thinking?
To dial it back before we alienate our fans, I actually like 10. I do.
Yeah, I'm not as sold.
I'm not sold on that scene.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably something wrong with you if you derive joy from that scene.
Well, I derive joy from it.
Well, I mean, like joy in like a very like, oh my god, that scene is so touching. And actually, you know what? The thing is if we really talk about it, if we take away the horrendous voice acting, that scene really could have been good. But that voice acting, man, like,
so Ramza could be a
who
knight,
signed off on that?
But he doesn't have accumulate yet.
He can't be anything without accumulate. And also, everybody needs to be a squire so that they can get JP up.
Jip up.
Because JP up is just as necessary in this game. Oh, man.
I want to learn. I want to learn.
Nerd. Yeah, the chemist wants to learn, doesn't he?
Nothing?
Phoenix down. Come
yeah.
on. Do we have any?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. We should probably go get some.
Well, we're at Igros Castle.
There we go.
We could actually go to the bar in this game, and Ramza only drinks milk because in the translation, America was too pussy, and they didn't want their protagonist
drinking
beer.
Hard liquor or beer at a bar. My
favorite part is that the bartender says, "Hey, what do you want?" Ramza says milk, and the bartender says ellipses. It's just ... And here's your like.
This milk is yellow. They didn't even change the graphic. Okay. So Matt brings up that the last half of 8 is a drag.
Okay, the last half. We want to give it a whole half.
I want to say that everything that happens after, because I actually think that it's before half. I think that there's two things that can that can mark the downfall of the game as a whole. One of those things is when you think that Selphie, Quistis, and Irvine die in the exploding base, or the weapons facility, and then the other is the fucking Trebia garden scene, man. Where you realize that everybody had amnesia and that the GFs were messing with them, and Irvine, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I thought you guys were just being assholes. It's like, oh my god, seriously? How is that the literary device you're going to use to tie all of these narrative threads together? Like, are you kidding
horrible.
me? It's bad, beyond belief. Adea was very cool, but missed opportunity. Yep, stupid orphanage scene. Yeah, I think that Adea is awesome. Actually, for those of you who are into theory crafting, with a K, of course, you guys should watch Arshan Gaya's lore run of Final Fantasy VIII, because he talks about these theories about who Ultimecia is. And there's some pretty interesting stuff there, because I mean, Ultimecia on her own is kind of just like this. You know, where the hell did that come from? Like, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah. Who do we want as our 5th, Margot or Nielsen?
Margot, bro.
The Mark of Margot.
She's got a lot of brave.
Which sounds like a bad translation. It sounds like a Japanese song.
Right, yeah, exactly. She has brave.
She has brave. You are Shock! She's got Brave!
If only there was more Fist of the North Star in Final Fantasy VIII.
We were talking about Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy VIII, Fist of the North Star. Some mean stream of consciousness.
Yeah, Haas brings up the point that it's... oh, wait, never mind. I'm not gonna... Well, what do you mean it's very easy to cheese Final Fantasy VIII? What do you mean by that?
You can build your characters really, really strongly at the beginning and just face roll everything.
Well, right. I mean, like, it's an incredibly easy game. You can get through the whole
if
damn
you
game.
understand the junction system.
Right, and you can get through the whole game without any random encounters and still face roll everyone. You know, it's ridiculous. You can beat that game at level 3 or level 5. You know, like, some people do that. Like, they have their challenges. Yeah. Let's see. I was so bored by Ultimate Team. Yeah, we all just wanted it to end at that point. Oh, God. Lionheart on Disc 1, good game. And Mixed Snow, I don't know who Mixed Snow is, but what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Tuned in with Margot.
Huh?
He showed up for Margot, dog.
Oh, okay.
In the fight.
Well, everyone loves Margot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Margot is no Hannibal, but, I mean, who is? I hope that Hannibal doesn't die, because I want Hannibal to be...
I don't think Hannibal is going to die.
Yeah, but he is going to eat this chocobo. And then he's going to eat an archer later on, like, the next big fight. A Hannibal does not
Dude, I don't know the Hannibal you know.
What are you trying to say about Hannibal, bro?
Alright, here we go. Here's Skeeter.
There we go.
Oh!
Ooh! Pecked
Chocobo doesn't like Skeeter.
Well, that's why we killed the Chocobo. And I think you're actually gonna kill him right now.
This is what you get for not liking Skeeter!
Boom. That's excess right there. What's happening? Who needs a heal? Probably no one.
Hannibal. Oh, keep Hannibal moving.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's true. And money is never an issue in this game, which is nice. Same with Final Fantasy VIII, actually. Final Fantasy VIII money is never an issue.
Most Final Fantasies.
Yeah, that's true. Although when Bill and I were speedrunning 7, I think money was an issue, right, Bill? Correct me if I'm wrong, but for some reason I thought that money was an issue at one point. Man, I love this game, dude. And, you know, there are... You know, Final Fantasy VII was the first one that I played, you know, like every other kid our age.
Yeah. 8 was actually the first one I played.
Yeah, I know, but you played 7 right after, right?
I did.
You know, 7 for me was my first. A lot of my friends in elementary school.
Are we talking about our firsts?
Yeah, our first. You know, like 7 was my first Final Fantasy. And therefore, I'm always going to feel some nostalgic hold to that game, you know?
Oh, shit!
Oh, what the hell?
Skeeter!
Was that Skeeter? She's no longer Skeeter. Skeeter doesn't miss.
You lose Skeeter them that quickly?
You do, because like I said, this is not what Skeeter does to...
I'm just gonna wait here, trap him in here.
Yeah. Heal Skeeter, since she can't fend for herself.
Ooh, heal Skeeter or Hannibal?
Yeah, heal Skeeter. She has 23.
It's just that 1 HP is the difference.
That 1 HP is the difference. But there's a certain nostalgia that I have for this game, too. It was the 3rd Final Fantasy I played. And, you know, everybody... A lot of people say, oh, well, you know, you usually love the first game that you played in the series, but that's actually not true. I think 7 might be my 3rd favorite. Something like that. 3rd or 4th. this game...
Damn, dude, Margot is strong for level 1.
Dude, Margot isn't messing around. Isn't she the one who has a lot of Brave?
Yeah.
I told you, dog. It's important to have Brave.
She's gotta have Brave.
FF didn't become FF until 4. Yep, true dat.
I think a lot of people would argue that it became FF at 3. Certainly not 2. Actually, Arshan Gaia is one who says that it becomes Final Fantasy at 3. I actually haven't played 3. I haven't played 2 or 3. Those are the only ones I've played. But apparently it sets up a lot of framework.
Yeah, but I mean... There's becoming, and then there's there's perfecting what you have become, and then setting the precedent for everything. You know, it's like very rarely the first one, or in this case the third. Even though it's more the animal that it's trying to be, it's not that yet. You know. And then you get 6, which just freaking blows everyone's tits off.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, 5 is like a lull in the series, you know? People don't like that one.
What was that?
People don't like 5. Oh. Nailed Margot. She deserved it.
Well, you get JP for that.
I don't think so, because I was aiming for the lion.
Oh, okay. That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, because, I mean, I do the tactics ogre thing with this where, you know, get your weak guys to beat the crap out of them. Is that what you're going to do right? Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you were going to stab Skeeter in the chest. What is everybody's favorite, you chat people, what's your favorite Final Fantasy? God, I'm just thinking about how this is Final Fantasy Tactics and we're talking about all of the other Final Fantasies. It's inevitable, you know?
It is.
And I mean, we can do an episode for every single Final Fantasy, and we're never going to run out of things to talk about. It's really unfortunate what the series has become because it had such a rich lineage, you know? It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's almost as somebody should write a video game in response.
Yeah, somebody should do that. Yeah, man. Let's see. So we got Waso Serious. What's up, Waso Serious? 2 in Tactics, very nice. We got Tactics in there. So yeah, we're getting 6, 9, 2 Tactics.
Swiggy.
What Pig says that only Bear can answer because she can't fucking remember. So which one does Pig like the most? 9?
Of the Final Fantasies?
Yeah.
She's played Tactics and 9.
So probably
9.
Yeah, 9.
So 9.
There we go.
I love her because she hates Steiner too.
It's so easy. It's so easy. All right, so Bill, let's see. Yeah, Wasa Serious spent mad hours unlocking everything on Tactics. I seriously, speaking of unlocking things, Cloud, man. God. Oh, God. Cloud is just a pain, dude. Unlocking all of his things, making him effective. Like, even a little bit effective.
He doesn't become effective ever. Like, all the other side characters in this game are awesome.
Right.
And you know what? To rein it back into what we were talking about this game in terms of epistemology and finding knowledge, all of these things you find by asking bartenders. All of those side quests, you walk into a bar and you just ask them, you know, tell me what's up with the world.
That's immersion, bro.
Yeah. You know? Everything with Mustadio, everything with Beowulf and Reese and Worker 8, that's all rumor. That's all rumors. I don't know how you find Deep Dungeon.
Interesting. So Vexy says that for her, Final Fantasy IV is number 1, followed by 6, 9, and then 10. That's an interesting
That is
top 4.
I like that. I like that. Okay, I gotta ask Vexy, because I love Final Fantasy IV. I love the characters. How do you feel towards 3/4 of the game when you find out that Cecil is a moon baby and he has to fight the moon people out of absolutely nowhere? Like, we have this amazing momentum, losing characters left and right, and then we have this motivation that is just like thrown at you and makes no sense. I hate that about
Well, you know, there's a... I can't believe I've never thought about this before, but...
moon babies.
You know, in Dr. Edlund's composition theory courses and similar courses, he talks about how writing, whether it's a narrative or expository piece of writing, structure is, you know, it's culturally bound. And so, you know, American formatting tends to be very, very linear and easy to follow, and there's this logical structure where, you know, we favor first intro, then, you know, like context or the lit review or something, and then these things. Well, there's this form of Japanese writing that I cannot... I think it's like called Shikosen or something like that. Like it's a movement of threes, and to an American audience, the transition from the first to the third, like that middle ground, that second part is like very counterintuitive to an American, but it makes sense completely in the context of a Japanese audience.
Interesting.
And so I often, well, since learning about that specific Japanese structure, I've kind of thought about how, like, there are a lot of Japanese narratives in video games that kind of have like this wonky midsection that, you know, it could just be a cultural thing where it's like, this makes complete sense, like this is in the tradition of Japanese literature.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about the end, we're not talking about the middle, it's the end that I take issue with.
Right. Well, I mean, we see that a lot in anime, you know, like how an anime just has like a totally weird, out of left field. You know, if you don't understand the context of Berserk's ending is gonna be like, what the fuck? Yeah. You know, like it took me seriously watching it like 5 times to be like, oh, this totally makes sense. But, you know, you have to, I guess, pick up on some of the structural nuance of the show itself.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What does Vexy say about the moon babies?
See, Vexy, that was weird. It made no sense. It was so random. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Bet your ass it was, Haas. Berserk is awesome. Let's see. Oh, and then Matt has to bring up the bunny chick from Final Fantasy 12.
Everybody's got to bring up Fran.
Fan service. Furry fan service. There you go. Get it, Skeeter. Anybody who does well.
Anybody who does something good. Anybody with a gold star is Skeeter.
Yes, I would be inclined to agree.
And that's why I can't put Final Fantasy 4 in the top, because it doesn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
And another thing that I don't like about 4 that I love about it in the beginning is that people are dropping from your party like flies. Like, people are dying. Like, people you know are dying, and then they all come back at the end. Except one guy.
Yeah, and I really, really love when death is permanent in a game, where you actually have the stones to kill somebody you've invested time in. You know, a lot of people, you know, first time they cried in a video game was when Eris died. Yeah. And, I mean, to me, I mean, it was, you know, because I think I was in 4th grade. Yeah. You know, for me, I was like, oh, wow, you know, that's crazy. You know, for me, as a child, that meant something. Now, when I go back, it's not really as impactful. Just because, you know, I was never too invested with Eris. And, you know, so it is kind of an awesome thing when you can strike that balance of making the audience care about a character and then having that character die. Yeah. You know, that, and I think that actually this game does a pretty good job at at doing the game.
Oh, no.
Man, that's not good. Oh man.
I've got a Phoenix down, dog. Don't worry about it.
There we go. Yeah, you know, there is a lot of death in this. I think that even though Teta is not somebody you connect with and you don't really know much about her, Teta's death is important to the player because it affects Ramza, but it also is like the impetus for Delita becoming who he is later.
And it makes you hate August.
And it really makes you hate August. Like, it's really
for a matter
effective.
of characterization, we have a lot of things happening through one death.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
And it's moving. That's the transition to part 2, where, you know, Ramza is no longer naive. Right. He is a hardened warrior. He puts on his armor. What does Wish do?
Heal somebody.
I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait here.
It heals somebody around you, but it also half of what you heal, you take that damage. So if you heal somebody for 32, you take 16 damage. I think.
Come back from the grave, Skeeter.
Rise from your grave. Let's see.
I wanna cover Skeeter.
Skeeter. Boom. Yeah, so, you know, since we're talking about all the Final Fantasies now...
Since we're talking about Skeeter.
You know, in this game, you know, you really do hate Algus after Teta dies. And you actually can't say the same thing for Sephiroth. You know, like, after he kills Eris, you're just like... You're kind of like, oh, goddamn, he just killed one of my party members. And, you know, if you're particularly attached to Eris, you're going to be like, oh, wow, this bastard. But at the same time, it's like, he's just so damn cool that you can't stay mad at him for too long.
Guy, you are so cool.
Yeah, he stabs freaking Cloud through the the chest.
Can I not cancel my move?
I don't know. Oh no, not the move.
No, I'm in trouble then. I thought I would kill him right here. Well, gonna get countered.
That's weird. They don't usually counter when you take them down to that critical damage, but you can.